Let's begin the second session of academic writing on coherence. Good afternoon, all of you. And I hope yesterday there were a few takeaways, how to write or build your sentence, effective sentence. Again, to repeat, I never say that you don't know how to, build up a good sentence, but I just wanted to state the sentence which is coherent, the sentence which is effective, the sentence which is very easy for the reader to understand and which can develop into a good paragraph. This is what we are here to learn. Obviously, no doubt about it, you people are in your graduation and definitely you are doing a good work. Like I many of you, I take your classes and I know how good you are in your spoken English or in your written English. But I again to repeat, since the world of 70s, where the whole concept of Western thinkers changed, they started talking about not making anybody making the reader very important rather than writer, and where they felt that whatever you're communicating, whether your concept, your thought process, uh, in form of academic writing I'm talking about, or article writing I'm talking about, it should be in a language which is easily understood by the reader. Okay. And when we talk about easily understand by the reader, then why what I mean is, we generally, because we by now we learn so many words, we learn how to play with the words, play with expression. So generally we tend to get carried away that expression, that knowledge of words while writing a paragraph. Yes. And what we do, we bring redundancy. That is, we don't make a sentence sententious, that is short and precise and concise, but rather we use extra words in it, just to somewhere brag, about a knowledge of writing, a style of writing. And it generally happens, we tend to get carried away with that kind of a thought process. So we might find repetition. So repetition of keywords is good, but if it's happening just to create a monotony, then it's problematic. We tend to even create ambiguous statement by keeping the modifier, that is, yesterday that I told you, the word nearly. If it's kept near frantic, the adjective, then only the adjective will get modified and it will indicate to the noun, that is manager. The manager got nearly frantic. Yes. So we tend to create this kind of ambiguity by by keeping the modifiers at the faulty place. Or we generally tend to do one more mistake, talking about coherence, while creating a sentence, that we tend to write complex sentences with complex expressions. And when we read that complex expressions or complex thought, we feel that it shows that we have matured in our writing. No, dear, the complexity uh, of the expression, which is actually making difficult for the reader to understand, or even per se after 2 or 3 days you also is not able to understand what do you meant by what you have written, then that is cannot be considered as a good writing. So when we talk about academic writing, whether be it's research paper, whether be it's your article writing that we do, scholarly article writing also is considered. What do we mean by article writing? That like you write book reviews, that's also an article. When you write article, and why it is called article, not a research paper? Because in an article, you are not uh, imposed on to put references. An article can without be a reference also. So that's why this is how we differ from uh, a research paper and an article. I just wanted to tell you because I thought now you're moving into the world of writing, academic writing, where you will combat these issues, how to understand that, oh, what is this article writing, or what is this research paper? Though I tell you, even good articles do have a good research, but article writing may have good references, sorry, and may have good research also done. Definitely in article writing, you do a research. But again, the second point, how it can differ, it may have references also, and definitely good research to be done. Second point is that you portray your own viewpoint. Yes, and for putting that viewpoint, you don't need any kind of alibi, whether we view whether be from research, resources, just primary or secondary sources, or anywhere. That's where we differ from article writing and research paper. Okay, and I tell you, article writing is very much recognized, and it gets published in, very renowned journals. So it's just that article writing, you put your own thought process, you do your research, you give that reference, but you put your thought process, and for your thought process, you don't have to put any alibi, from any resources or references. But in research paper, if you are saying any thought, if you're trying to validate any thought, then definitely you need to validate it from any kind of secondary resources, or critiques who have stated something, or primary resource. You have to do that. Okay, so just a small bit, because I know as a scholar, these questions have always reverberated in my mind, and it would definitely do in your mind too. I hope it's clear. Yes, bitter, because I can't see students, so it becomes difficult for me. This is where I feel the barrier of online class. So is it clear what I've told you? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Your response is very much needed. I can't see anyone, I can't see participants because the screen is shared. Okay, now, just hold on. Now, today's topic of discussion on coherence is paragraph order. Use pronouns to link sentences, use synonyms, use repetition, use transitional tags, and use parallel structures of parallelism. So actually, leaving paragraph order, the others are technique or mechanism of coherence. Okay. So now let's recapitulate. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll share you a small video, because you have been listening to my words, and you would have developed a monotony. So I thought I will bring some change, and I'll show you something which I felt was very useful. Is it audible to you? Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
if you remember, we had discussed this only yesterday. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So it was, I thought that I'll show you a small video that will help you to recapitulate what we had studied. Yes? So let's move ahead. Now, coherence in paragraph. Again, just, an example I want to show you that how a paragraph could be coherent, what is poor coherence and what is strong coherence. See, when we say coherent, the order, first of all, very important is the order of the statement. The order of the statement should always be correct. There should be a logical following of statements whenever we are talking something, and the right emphasis at right place is what we look for in coherence in paragraph. So there are two paragraphs on the screen. Poor coherence. The industry has many advantages. It can draw on a great deal of research. It can also export products to key trading partners. It has significant growth potential in the medium to long term. Workers within this industry need training. It is important to keep staff up to date with software used in this industry. Now, what will be the coherent? The topic sentence you see is same. The industry has many advantages. That side also in strong coherence. The topic sentence is same. The industry has many advantages. It can draw on a great deal of research, particularly in terms of strategies used for entering into new markets. While there is significant growth potential in the medium to long term, it is clear that workers within the sector need training. Therefore, it is important to keep staff up to date with the software used in the industry. So what I expect you to do, just take 10 seconds, 20 seconds rather, read both the paragraphs and see how they have been made coherent. So you have read it, and I hope you have tried to understand what they have done. In the second statement, where it had written, it can draw on a great deal of research. What they have done, they have used a punctuation, in order to connect the statement. Okay. And after that, what they have used while, which is called as transitional tag, to connect the statement smoothly. These transitional tags or any connectors that are used, they are like a stepping stone, to move from one statement to another, so that you can have a smooth moving from one statement to another. Okay, so this is what you see, that while is a transitional tag which is used, then again in long term after that comma, and it is clear that it's again a transitional tag used, and therefore, and industry. So this is how the industry becomes again your we call it as repetition, you see. So these are emphasis. So this is how they have tried to rather than make writing down statement one line after the another, they have used these connectors to bring a smooth movement of the statement from one statement to another, isn't it? Though we don't say that is not a sentence, it is a well drafted sentence, but we call it poor coherence because we somewhere when we read, we don't find that it's so easily connect, in our mind. It does not have such a smooth flow from one statement to another. Okay, thank you, dear. Please, I definitely require your response to understand that am I, coherent enough for you, So now let's talk about, the order of paragraph coherence. Now, when we talk about order of paragraph coherence, then, we develop paragraphs main idea through a proper order, as I have already told you. And for that proper order, there should be, proper supporting sentences as raw material. Now, if it is not put into order, you understand that the paragraph may not seem very coherent. Now, there are many methods of writing a paragraph. or following an order. One is chronological sequence. Now, this chronological sequence, beta, though you will read this chronological sequence, but I would like to put my further understanding to it. That chronological sequence, as it is written over here, that it's a chronology, a sequence of events that it follows. When you're writing your a paragraph, and you're supporting it with very important necessary information. But when you look at various books, different good authentic books, some may say chronology is sequence of events. Some may also add that though chronology is sequence of events, but it shows the movement of time. Because generally, when we look at the term chronology, it is used with the concept of time. Okay, so for them, some books, they say the sequence of events for them is a linear paragraph. So just to make you understand that if you ever read anywhere a linear term, so please do not say that we have not been told like this. I tell you, linear means sequence of events. Chronology may also in some books may mean sequence of events, or it may mean a sequence of events with the specific stress on time. Like, for example, very important, history books. Now you look at history books, they have a time following of an event, of any historical event that has happened. Okay, or you look at programming. Now, if you look at programming, you'll find that there is a time foundation to that programming. Yes. So you must have studied computers in your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, or 6th, 7th, 8th. So for programming also, there is a time, there's a sequence to follow, and there's a time to follow. Well, so this is chronological. It has a sequence of events which may have time, and which does not have time. You may also call it as linear sequence. Now, second method is, you all know this well, I know, because it's how you've been taught essay, that there are different methods of describing an essay. Another one is a spatial position. Now, in the spatial position, what happens? You describe the space around you. In this, you may not have any time moving, and you may not, and here you have little freedom. Why freedom? Because you do not have any kind of sense of logical sequence to follow. Yes, like for example, if I have to describe my online class, then I would say that my online class is, this is a second day of my academic writing session on coherence. We are talking about paragraph coherence, and we have 16 students in the online class. And now I have my own method, my own sequence, but there is no such kind of logical sequence to follow in this. So spatial position could be that I describe anything without consideration of time or logical sequence. Okay. Now, another fourth method is conversation between different experts. So expert conversation method. Now, what is this expert conversation method? It actually means that, what you do, like, for example, oh yes, you've been, few of you would have been rapporteur of any of the programs that would have been conducted in school or in college. Now, when you're doing your rapporteur, and what you have to do, you have to write about it. So what will you do? Like you see in NDTV or NDTV 24/7, WION, DSW, like, Al Jazeera, there are very good discussions taking place on political and social issues. Now, there are experts sitting in that session. Now, what you have to do, if, for example, if you have to just do a report writing of the same. So what will you do? There'll be a topic sentence. Yes. And then you will follow the sequence. You will first talk about what economist views is, how socialist person views it, how political expert views it. And then if there is any contradiction or any discussion regarding the three which went on, then you will mention that. And in the end, you will write your conclusion. So this is actually they mean by, expert conversation. Okay, because many a time, you may have to do some kind of reporting, or or you become a rapporteur and you have to write what has happened there in the session. Okay, another method is logical form of argument. Definitely. Now, this argument is For example, if any discussion, like for example, if the discussion on a COVID positive scenario regarding poor oxygen cylinder provision by the government. Now you have to follow a sequence to talk about, that you have to first of all create a framework. You have to see that what all has to be spoken in proper sequence and logical form. Yes, because it's not like you are describing it in a spatial position. No, in this there should be a logic in what you're stating, and there should be proper logical connection with what you're stating, and there should be a proper conclusion. What you have stated in the topic sentence, you need to prove it in your conclusion. Okay, I hope I'm clear. Now see, just a example for you to look at chronological sequence. As I have already told you, the sequence that is given could be of a linear sequence, because chronology you may also understand with the concept of time. So you may call it as a linear sequence where there is an proper sequence of event that follows. So topic sentence is: a journey was filled with misfortune and luck. After the car broke, we had to walk several miles. Having eaten little for lunch, we were soon wearied. While we wanted to continue towards town, we had to rest. It was at that moment that a trucker offered us a ride. So there is a sequence to follow, that our journey was filled with a lot of unfortunate happening. And why? Because the car had broke down after going several miles. And when eaten lunch, we were very tired, and but we wanted to continue towards town and take rest there. And it was at that very moment that trucker offered us a ride. Okay, now expert conversation, as I was talking about. So most of you are from literature background, so this will interest you, where I have taken up, Karl Marx and Michel Foucault's discussion point. And what they say, the topic sentence is: Karl Marx and Foucault produced influential and superficially similar, but ultimately conflicting understanding of the way the power struggles determine the truth. Marx, writing in the midnight century, asserted that truth was the product of conflicts between classes or group of people positioned differently in historical economic power arguments. American University Academic Support Center Writing Club, updated 2009. While agreeing with Marx, recognition of the way that power struggles and history alter truth, Foucault was more skeptical about Marx's identification of classes as the primary actors in the struggle. Foucault suggested that an examination of the claims made about sexuality and appropriate punishment revealed a complex give and take between various social groups and interests, all of which sought to establish a dominance by controlling meaning. Marxist critiques of Foucault argue in response that removing the focus from class eliminates a broad view of social conflict necessary to seeing how economic and political changes shape our everyday understanding. So what is happening in this? As I have told you, there'll be a topic sentence, then you consider Marx, then you'll, because Marx was a predecessor of Foucault, then you'll talk about, Foucault, and then you'll talk about how Foucault and Marx, they disagree, or their critiques, they disagree, and then you end. This is expert conversation that we go through. Fine. So now, very important, let's move towards 5 basic mechanical devices of coherence. Now, first one is using pronoun to link sentences. Now you see, since childhood you have been reading. If you don't use pronoun, if I say that Dr. Reena is taking the class and Dr. Reena has been speaking throughout the day, throughout the lecture, Dr. Reena this, Dr. Reena that, it seems so, it creates a barrier in the mind, and every time it creates a thud in the mind, bang, and you find it really irritating or annoying. So what we do, we use pronouns, like we say you know, she, or like that, and you use these pronouns in order to not look very repetitive. Yes. So and again, pronoun is used to make your reading, eliminating wordiness and unnecessary repetition. So as the statement states, Mr. Thompson agreed to meet with the members of the workers' union before he signed the contract. He was interested in hearing their concerns about the new insurance plan. So workers would be there, and Mr. Thompson is he. This you very well understand. So basically, we are using pronouns in order to bring that connection in the sentence, to make it coherent, to give ease in the mind of the reader. Otherwise also, if you use every time Mr. Thompson, I cannot say it's a wrong sentence. No, it's not a wrong sentence. But yes, when we look with the ease of a refined sentence, a refined paragraph, then there it will not qualify. Okay, so it's not the matter of wrong and right, but it's the matter of whether it is appropriate, whether it is refined. Then definitely it will not qualify. Yes, so this is something which is very easy. You have been learning since school. You may not realize, but you have done a lot of worksheets on it. So I need you also to do a worksheet, and I'll just copy this. Bhavya has just joined, so I'll not ask her or him. Vibhuti?
Not submitted.
Submitted. Okay. So is there anybody who's left who's not submitted? There's no or yes from you all. I request you one thing, beta. When I ask,
I'm just submitting it, ma'am.
who's this? Acha, Shivani. Okay. I just request you one thing, beta, because it's an online class. I can't, understand your non-verbal cues because you're not visible to me. So please, if I ask for any response, do give me yes or no, so that I can continue with my class. It seems that as if I'm talking to walls, and it seems so void when you don't give response. We develop a kind of little anxiety, you see. So please do give a response in the class. Yes, like Pratyaksh. I don't know why he's not replying. Pratyaksh, you meet me in next session. I'll tell you. Pratyaksh. No, I don't know. Chalo. So what I'll do, should I move to next session now? Next work, like next mechanism. Yes, because most of you have submitted, so I will shift to next segment. Now, next segment is about transitional, tags. Okay, this transitional tags are very interesting, concept to link sentences and make paragraph coherent. Now, you see what these transitional tags do. They provide you transitions between ideas, and which is largely matter of an attitude. Like, we must always assume that our reader knows what we know, so we must not always assume that. So it is good idea to assume not only that your readers need all the information that we have, and should also know that how you arrived at that point you are, but also that they are not quite as quick as you are. So because if you have written something, it's easy for you to read fast, it's easy for you to understand, but it's not easy for the reader to understand. It's not easy for the reader to give a quick reading, because definitely reader has to decipher what you are meaning to say. So you have to use those. So you might be able to leap from one side of the stream to the other. However, do consider that your readers might need few stepping stones, and be sure to place them in readily accessible and visible spots. Now, what are these transitional tags? They are gamut from most simple ones to, difficult ones. The little conjunctions like and, but, nor, for, yet, or, till, until, so, and to more complex signals, including conjunctive adverbs and transitional expressions such as however, moreover, nevertheless, and on the other hand. Yes. So when you look at these transitional signals, they are basically your, maybe your conjunctions. Yes, you maybe your adverbial conjunctive, or maybe your just a simple, connectors. Okay. So like for example, look at the statement. Many students believe they cannot write a good essay because they are not writers. However, as they practice writing and work on developing their writing skill, however, as they practice writing and work on developing their writing skills, most students are able to gain the needed confidence to start thinking of themselves as writers. So, because and however, because, becomes your conjunction, and this is adverbial conjunctive when you look at however. So, when you use these terms, but you have to develop an understanding that, when to use which term. It's very, very important. Yes, these transitional tags. So these transitional tags, you can say, is a conjunction, where it's a slight change in your thought process, just to understand in a layman language better, that when we are writing a paragraph and we see a sudden jerk in our statement, but we find that it's very important to connect. Have I shared this with you? No, I have, isn't it? Okay, so I was talking about this transitional tag, you see. Now, what is transitional tag? Why do we use it? When we are thinking of a sentence, of a paragraph, where we see that there is a slight jerk in a thought, that is a slight change in a thought, but that thought is very important to connect, for a paragraph, but there's a jerk, there is change, a slight change in the thought. Then what we do, we use these transitional tags to say, however, like when talking about this, Karl Marx and Foucault, Karl Marx talked about how class conflict creates the power structure, and how Foucault states that no, class conflict is not so important when we talk about power structure. So, but however, so what we use, though Marx is talking about class conflict and power structure, however, Foucault, now you are trying to connect another very important writer, another very important expert with the thought. And so what you do, and you feel that both the thoughts are parallelly important, you put however. You say that, however, Foucault has this particular thought process or point related to it. Okay. So this is how, when we see a jerk in our thought process, we see a slight change in our thought process, but it's not such a big change in a thought that we need another paragraph. We feel that there is a jerk in the thought, but it's very important, it's important to connect it with the statement, because it will really justify the paragraph. Then you use these kind of transitional tags like conjunctive adverbs, which we say however, yet, this kind of, moreover, so. Yes. So here we go with another small, now these are on transitional tags, and it would be very important for you. So please do these assignment, do this worksheet in order to understand what is transitional tags. Can you see the form, Google form?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So please go ahead with this transitional tags, and I tell you, it will really help you to develop your understanding about this mechanism. Are you able to do the exercise, Veda?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, done.
Done? So did you find the exercise interesting?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
indeed
ma'am.
it
Yes, ma'am.
was.
Okay. And you see, we don't realize, but you see, when we have to use these transitional tags, when you get a worksheet like this, then you tend to get really, baffled that, okay, now what to do? Like, you develop kind of a doubt on yourself, isn't it? That whether be however, or whether be therefore, or whether be in addition to, like, you tend to develop these kind of little doubt in you. So, did you find it happening successfully, or you're losing marks?
No, ma'am, I actually lost marks, ma'am. My score was 6 out of 10.
Six? No, but it is pretty good, beta. I tell you. Why I tell you it's pretty good? Because see, there is a reason behind it. I'm not critical, see, but the point is that I have seen the difference between CBSE board format of teaching. Like, in CBSE board, I've seen, like, for so many, it's now 17 years of my teaching. I've seen student from NIT, NIT's National Institute of Technology till Amity University. And the problem that I feel that, okay, they make you do a lot of worksheets, so you develop your spoken English. They make you take part in different activities. Well, in ICC board also it's the same. Whatever activities they're picking up, it was a format of the old British style of teaching. But the point is, they forget to talk about rules. Like, for example, in spite and despite. Now, where will off will be added, you will take seconds to think about it. It will not come very naturally to you. Why? Because you see, and I have been, I met NTCC director in a conference, and I had a very long discussion with her. And I was not convinced. There the teachers were saying, no, ma'am, we give them worksheets in order to, develop them a kind of understanding with the language. Benika, with the worksheet, once they have developed an ease with the language, they should be taught proper, rules also. They say that, you, ma'am, when you speak Hindi, you don't have to think about rules. That's okay, but we have studied rules. It's not that once since childhood we are speaking Hindi. It's not that we have not studied Vyakaran. We have studied Swar, we have studied Vyanjan. Similarly, phonetics and grammar both is very important in order not to let the student make a mistake. So, but they do not agree with this kind of a format. But I don't know, but for because I am working on the ground level, these people, they are in a director position. They try to look at the Western concept, and they make some kind of, I don't know what kind of analysis. But I tell you, we as a teacher, we are working on the ground reality, and we understand that what problem the students are facing. And the problem is that the student might be speaking a good English, a spoken language would be good, but where it comes to rules, where they have to find out difficulty or any problem in the sentence, they'll be stuck, because rules are not taught with that kind of religiosity as the worksheet has been given. Don't you think so? Were you taught rules? And 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th syllabus, 11th, 12th syllabus in CBSE board, I am totally, disillusioned, because I find no, reports still better, that notices and circulars and whatnot. My dear, that has to be taught in graduation, whichever stream they'll go. They'll know that if they're going in a law field, they have to write notices, circulars like that, or mails like that. If they'll move into industry or like doing MBA, they'll write mails or their notices like that. So what's the use of teaching at the level of 11th, 12th? I don't know how much you agree, but because I can see the difference, we have been taught rules and the language, at ease. We've been taught since childhood to speak English in convent, but then later on we were taught grammar side by side. We were given hand holding in grammar. So I feel that really helps us to look at and UP board, I've seen that their grammar is very good. So that helps us, but in CBSE board, this what it makes me really feel bad about what my students have to say. You agree? Okay. Yes, my students, please tell me what views you have on this.
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
I'm saying that in CBSE board, you're not taught rules in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Or even 6th, 7th, 8th, the rules are not taken so religiosity as it should have been.
Ma'am, the whole education system in itself is kind of flawed. So, like only particular classes का बोल के क्या फायदा हो जाता है तब? Because if we look at it, then even if you're in an English medium school, we still talk in Hindi or in other languages which we prefer. And so even if you're not talking in English, we are not using the English. So even if you're learning the lessons and chapters or poems, we're not using it in our daily life. So it doesn't have the same impact as the other languages or any other thing would like matter or would have the same impression.
Okay, fine. So yes, one thing is there that you are not able to, whatever, because it's a foreign language for you. We say that it is a third language for us. If you look at the linguistic part of it, then there are L1, L2, L3 speakers. L1 is, the native speakers, like mother tongue, and L2 is the state or the place where you are in. Like, for example, I may be from a Bhojpuri background, but my city has Hindi as a speaking language. So Hindi becomes my L2 and English is L3. So, and that's where, it creates barrier for us to practice this foreign language. Parallelly, my point is that rules are very important. Well, forget it. Let's come to another very important device to link sentences. It is parallelism. Now, this is also very interesting, Beta. We tend to commit a very unconscious error when we are writing a sentence. Parallelism means that if you are writing two sentences, and if you're writing a sentence, then it should have same format of tense used. And like, an example, as you see, the children spend the summer weekends playing ball in the park, comma. Now, this is again the phrase which is used over here, a clause, sorry, rather, swimming in the neighbor's pool is a clause which has subject and a predicate, which, so this is a clause and it has been used in one sentence only by putting just a comma. Now, what I mean to say is, when you look at the sentence, it should be in the same form of tense. If you're using continuous form, then your second line should also be in continuous form. But generally, we tend to commit this error very conveniently without realizing this fact. Okay? So without realizing this fact, we commit this error. We may say, usually the children spend summer weekends playing ball in the park. They swim in the neighbor's pool. They eat ice cream under the tree and also go for camping in the backyard. But now when I'm saying swim and eat, I'm using a wrong form of tense. And so the sentence becomes a faulty structure. Yes, so what I mean to say is the structure should express the similar ideas. If it is continuous form of similar ideas over here means better to make it more ease of what is written over here, as per my understanding or per the the rule, it is similar ideas means same form of tense needs to be used. So if I'm saying that usually the children spend the summer weekend playing ball in the park, like for example, if I'm saying that I am taking class online, I am seeing my student responding in the class, though I do find my few students not responding. Now I have to really see that generally the form of tense is not becoming faulty. And if there is no parallelism in it, the similar structure in it, then that will not call as that will call as faulty parallelism. Like, you look at the second example. At the museum, the class attended a lecture where the speaker demonstrated. Now, this is a simple present statement. The class attended a lecture. Yes, where the speaker demonstrated how the Native Americans made bows and arrows. They also attended a lecture where a swordsmith demonstrated. So ED is there. So you have to remember to put ED in, both the sentences in order to have parallel structures, in order to have similar ideas, in order to link the sentences. One should not have continuous, the other should not be using the present, past form of present. So it should not be like that. Every sentence should be linked very correctly. You got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, such a slow response you people give. What is the issue? Why do people give such a slow response? We tend to become really. So you have understood how to go about it. What is parallelism? This means you have to use same format of tense actually. Simple language, if I say. Okay. So I want you to do this. This worksheet on parallelism, and let me see how much you have understood my point. You have understood what I've told you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So remember, same structure. What I'll do, I'll just share the rule to you, so that if you find any issue, you'll be able to just look through it and you'll understand. So this is the rule. I have opened it for you, and I believe you're able to open the Google form.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, the link is not visible in my chat box.
Link is not visible in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it with everyone happening? Everyone is facing the same problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let me see what the issue is. I'll do it again better. I'll share it again. Now let me see. Is it visible? Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
My God, what is Lalit ji? Are you there? आप हैं वहाँ पे?
Yes, ma'am.
ललित जी, ये मैं चैट में कर तो नहीं हूँ, लेकिन ये प्राइवेटली लिख के आ रहा है, क्योंकि इसको एवरीवन कर देती हूँ. एवरीवन कर दो.
यस मैम, टॉप पे एवरीवन है, उस पे क्लिक कर दीजिए.
ओके, हाँ समझ गई. अब दिख रहा है बेटा?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
ठीक है बेटा, थैंक यू. Though we say technology makes our life easier, but sometimes I feel it makes little baffled, make us a little baffled. Using technology, you have to be tech savvy. And taking classes on MS Teams, we develop a habit of using that particular platform. No? Okay, so let me share that rule so that it's easy for you to understand. Because there's 7 questions, I believe, isn't it? Yes, beta? In the exercise, aren't there 7 questions?
Yes, ma'am. There are.
So, were you able to complete?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I have to just give a quick look to synonyms and repetition, and then the session is over. I'll not be able to. If you want, I can share the Google Doc for that also, the repetition and synonym, and you can do it on your own. So parallelism, I believe you have understood. What they mean to say is, like, for example, if I say, I'm going to market, I am going to buy vegetables. Now, I cannot say I'm going to market, I will buy vegetables. I am going to market, I'm going to buy vegetables, I'm also going to meet one of my friend, then definitely we will be having a very good time conversating with each other. So you see, that what I'm talking about is refined paragraph, which gives a meaning, because you cannot do beta that you use, see what this tense is. Tense means time. It's a Latin word which means time. Tense means off tempus. Off tempus means time. So in a sentence, you cannot variate between a time. Like, for simply to give you our understanding, uh, when we talk about tense, so like, what is simple present? If you talk about simple present means universal statement or habitual statement. I go to college by bus. This is a habitual statement because it's happening every day and it's something habitual. I sing at 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's again a habitual statement. Then universal statement, simple present universal statement would be the sun rises in the east. Then again you look at, then the second form of tense would be in present tense would be present continuous. Now present continuous is where you are saying that she is singing. Now she is singing means she is singing. We know that she is singing now, but we don't know when she had started. That is the difference between present perfect continuous and present perfect and simple present. In simple present, we know that she is singing. In present perfect continuous, she has been singing. We know that they both are singing, but in present perfect continuous, we know the time when she started singing. If we have to use the term present perfect continuous, we have to say she has been singing. And if you just write she has been singing, then also we'll understand that, okay, you know the time when she started. But when we say she is singing, we don't know the time when she started. So this is how we differentiate. So, when you write your cards, like you say, the time for the function is to begin is sharp at 9 a.m. So this is again, you talk about simple present. The function would begun at 9 a.m. Simple perfect and perfect tense. Yes. Now this way, if we write now, what is a present perfect? If we look at present perfect is I have sung. So this means I have just finished the work. It is in present form. It is not in past form because the work has just been completed. Yes. So I have sung. And similarly, you just use the would or will form in tense, in future tense, and you'll use had in your past tense. So, and now if you imagine that you keep on shifting between, your present perfect and simple present, or present perfect or continuous, how is it possible? Sometimes you're saying that present continuous, okay, we don't know at, what time you started your shopping, but okay, you will do this. But then you again use present perfect. How is it possible that we know the time now? You understood my point? I hope I'm clear to you. Yes? You understood my point? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, so quickly, I'll just go through this repetition. Now, see, repetition is also a form of linking words, which is very, very important. I'll try to quote, one statement of Abraham Lincoln, which I have picked up from a book. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. So people and time has been fool, people and time have been repeated time and again. Why? Because they now over here, if the repetition is taking place, it is kind of creating a rhythm for you. Yes, when you say you can fool some of the people all of the time, or all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. So he has, Abraham Lincoln had stated a very important statement, that you cannot fool every people in the world, your own public, all the public. there would be few people of some time, particular time they would be fooled, or all the people of particular time may be fooled, but all the people every time they cannot be fooled. And it is very true about the COVID scenario that we are seeing over here in India. Yes, so whether it be administration, whether it be anyone, they cannot fool us all the time. There would be people who would be realizing it and understanding it. There might be some who would be fooled now, but they will realize one day after a few months, or when the reports will be digged out, or there would be few people who are understanding now also. Well, what is another part, we call it as synonym. Now synonym is something, when you try to use another term for it. The girls, the young girls are moving on the street. The teenagers, girls, they try to, buy something flashy for themselves. Now, when we say young girls and when we say teenager, teenager is a synonym used for them. So just that what we mean by synonym. Okay? Understood? And with this, we have almost come to end. Actually, it's time to end. And do you have anything, any question to ask? Yes?
Ma'am, we really enjoyed this session. Thank you.
Let me see your faces, let me unshare, and then just for a few minutes. Who's the one who stated this?
Ma'am Shivani.
Okay, Shivani, I don't know how comprehending I was with my, with the assignments that I created, or worksheets that I created. But still, I thought with all these devices, these worksheets will really help you to develop your
Definitely,
understanding.
ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else who would like to state something? Okay. So with this, we end the session. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.